ask you something. It might be a bit uncomfortable. Who were you at work before the thing happened? Before the redundancy or the restructure, before the role that ground you down until you handed in your notice, just so that you could breathe again? Or before the promotion that went to someone else and quietly broke something in you that you haven't quite named yet? Who were you before all of that? Because here's what I've noticed. A career knockback doesn't just take the job. It takes the version of you that had that job, the confidence, momentum, that casual assumption you had that you were actually going somewhere. And rebuilding that, well, that's a completely different task to updating your CV, isn't it? So this week on Unshakeable Her, we're talking about coming back, really coming back. Not just landing the next role and white knuckling through it, actually coming back. Hello and welcome to Unshakeable Her. We believe that getting promoted, owning your influence and finally telling that imposter syndrome voice to do one doesn't require a personality transplant. Just a few resourceful little habits and someone in your corner. That someone is me. I'm Caroline Esterson. Let's get into it. So here's what you'll get from today's episode. 1. A story that puts words around a career knockback you might have felt but couldn't quite articulate. 2. A name for the part of a redundancy or setback that nobody talks about, the bit that hits harder than the practical stuff. And 3. One tiny move you can make this week if you're in the thick of it right now. It's not a fix, but it is your starting point. And I thought this was really timely as I'm seeing many more open to work labels on LinkedIn, and within our circle, roles are changing or being removed altogether. And one post really struck me. This person was 12 months on from redundancy, being told that there are many really excellent people going for the same jobs. No point in dropping down a level even, as there are even more people going for those jobs too. And I also had a call from someone who really wanted a change. She's pretty checked out, but felt that the market wasn't good and she was slowly losing all that punch and energy that made her, her. So let's dig in, because these types of things do change us in ways that we often don't even realise. And when we start to notice, as I keep telling you, we can actually do something about it. So let me paint the scene for you. Today's story is about Sasha. Sasha is 41 years old and she's sitting at a table at the back of a Costa Coffee that she's driven specifically to because it's 3 miles from anyone she knows. She has a large flat white, a notebook, her laptop open, and absolutely no idea who she is anymore. 8 weeks ago, Sasha knew who she was. She was head of commercial partnerships at a company she'd given 6 years of her life to. It was a good company. She loved her team. She got paid well. She was, by every external measure, doing really well. And then everything changed. Her entire division gone. When she reflects, she knew before the meeting had finished the way the MD wouldn't quite meet her eye. And then she got the call that afternoon. An hour later, she was standing on the pavement outside the office with her cardboard box, her lanyard, and a redundancy package that felt simultaneously generous and completely beside the point. She did everything right in the weeks that followed, updated her LinkedIn, told her network, took calls, had coffees, kept busy. She was fine. She kept saying she was fine. Then, one Tuesday morning, 8 weeks in, she sat down to work on a job application. It was a good role. She was genuinely qualified for it. And she just stopped. She couldn't write anymore. Not because she didn't know what to say, but because she couldn't make herself believe it. Sasha was head of commercial partnerships. That's what she had been. Past tense. Without the title, the building, the team she loved, she genuinely couldn't remember what she brought to work that was hers, not the company's, hers. So she closed her laptop, walked to her car, and she sat in the car park for 40 minutes before she turned the key in the ignition to start the engine and go back home. And I want to pause here for a minute because I think this moment, the car park moment, is something that a lot of people who've been through a knockback will recognise. It's not the losing of the job or the job changing that's the hardest part. It's the morning you realise that somewhere along the way, you confused the job with yourself. And now the job's gone or changed and you're trying to work out what's left. That is a completely understandable response to losing something that was so finely woven into your identity. But I want you to hear this. This is really crucial. This is recoverable, but not in a way the career advice tends to suggest. It's not by digging in and moving faster, moving forward. It's not by reframing it as an opportunity or posting excited to share that I'm looking for my next chapter on LinkedIn before you've even figured out what chapter you're in. Way to deal with this, the way to sort it is slowly, honestly, and 2 millimeters at a time.
The unspoken rulebook. Know the rules. Own the game.
So this week's entry for the unspoken rulebook is a career knockback doesn't just end a job, it temporarily ends the story you were telling yourself about who you are, and nobody warned you about the second part. Let's focus on redundancy, but the next bit really does apply to any significant negative change that you might be facing. We talk about redundancy in practical terms. It's about the package, the notice period, the search process. We almost never talk about the identity rupture, do we? The fact that for a lot of people, especially people who've been committed, invested, and good at what they do, work isn't just where you go, it's a part of how you understand who you are. And when that's taken away from you, or falls apart, or turns out to have been quietly crushing you for years, well, there's grief in that. And that's heavy, that's real. And if you pretend otherwise by staying busy, staying practical, saying, I'm fine at networking events, it doesn't help you process that grief. It just delays it. Sasha's car park moment, well, that was the grief arriving. And it was actually the beginning of her comeback. So let's continue with the story. She drove home in a daze, got into the house and sat at the kitchen table. She opened a notebook and she wrote one question at the top of the page. What have I actually been good at? Not what my job title said, but actually genuinely good at. She sat with it for a long time and then she started writing, slowly at first, then faster. She started putting down things like the way she built trust with people quickly, not by being charming, but by being straight with them. The way she could take something complicated and make it make sense to someone who'd never heard of it. The way she interpreted data from a spreadsheet quickly and turned it into insight. None of that was in her job title. All of that came with her. That was Sasha. By the time she'd finished the flat white, she had 2 pages. She didn't have a job. She had something way more useful. She had a starting point. That was her 2 millimeters. So that's Monday. If Sasha's car park moment is somewhere you've been or somewhere you might even be sitting right now, stay with it. Wednesday, we're getting into the science of exactly what a knockback does to your sense of self and why your brain makes recovery feel harder than it actually needs to be. And Friday, believe me, you'll rise up. Trust me on this one. So that's it from me today on Unshakeable Her. If something landed for you, share it with a woman in your world who really needs to hear it. She probably won't ask, but she'll be really glad that you did. I'm Caroline Esterson, and you, well, you are completely, entirely unshakable. See you Wednesday.